Many IT service delivery arrangements, whether they involve internally or externally, provide services begin with a project. But despite 50 years of accumulated experience in managing such projects, major disasters still occur. In this chapter, we examine the sources of implementation risk and suggest strategies for managing IT project delivery. Key learning objectives of this chapter are: understand possible sources of IT project risk and how these can be managed, recognize different approaches to project execution and understand their relative merits, understand the value of both consistency and agility in project management. 3 important project dimensions: inference, inherent implementation risk. Project size: the larger the project in terms of budget, staffing levels, duration, and number of departments affected, the greater the risk. Experience with the technology. Project risk increases when the project team and organization are unfamiliar with the hardware, software, or other project technologies. New technology projects are intrinsically riskier than projects that use familiar technologies. Requirements volatility. For some projects, the nature of the risk fully and clearly defines what is required of project outputs. From the project's beginning and throughout its duration, outputs remain fixed. Inherently stable requirements make these projects easier to manage. Other projects do not have such convenient characteristics. Their requirements are difficult to determine and tend to evolve throughout the project. This slide shows how the project characteristics just identified influence project risk. If we consider large project size, high technology, and high requirements volatility to be risk factors, say large size and high requirements volatility is more than twice as risky as a project with just one of those factors. In most IT projects, there arrives a time when substantial difficulties materialize, even if managers and IT staff have planned and executed well. This most often happens at cutover, when the new systems goes live. When this occurs, business users and their managers can quickly lose confidence in the system and the IT staff. A crisis may ensure. How managers handle such a crisis is a major determinant of project success. Thus, managing this dip in performance is an important part of managing project risk. This slide compares the expectations of business users about the performance impact of a new computer system with the way such impacts usually happen. Not surprisingly, business users and executives primarily think about new systems in terms of the improvement they will provide. Frequently, a project is sought on the basis of the pattern in the top part of this slide, and people are surprised when it unfolds in a pattern like that in the bottom part of this slide. This slide depicts a way of thinking about a portfolio of projects in terms of aggregate risk. Projects tend to cluster around the diagonal in this picture because in business, high risk tends to be associated with the potential for high reward. But projects may be distributed differently along the diagonal. They could be spread out evenly, or they could be clumped at the upper left or lower right. How they should be distributed depends on the firm's business strategy. If a company includes aggressive use of technology to maintain competitive advantage in its strategy statements, but has IT projects clumped at the bottom right in the picture, managers ought to contemplate whether this makes sense. If a company's managers do not expect new IT systems to contribute significantly to the firm's competitive advantage, projects clumped in the upper left corner should prompt a serious review.